Hi there guys, I hope you're all okay, that you're all keeping safe and well. I thought today to sort of round off these last couple of weeks where we've spoken about coping skills, that today we can talk about sort of asking for help, so some tips on how to do that, where we can get help from, and also how to support our friends and family or colleagues when they're starting that journey of seeking support for their mental health, because it's quite a scary thing to do, to make that first step. So yeah, really important topic, so let's get into it. So like I said, that first step in asking for help, that first step, recognising that there's a problem, that can feel really scary. So some things that might be going on for you when we're starting to think about seeking help for our mental health. So when is the right time to ask for support? Well, it differs from person to person. But I think some common things that we can sort of think about are, if we're having thoughts and feelings that we are struggling to cope with, and we're worrying more than usual, feeling down more than usual. And when these feelings are starting to have an impact on our day-to-day life and impacting on our ability to go about our day-to-day life, then that might be when we might need to seek some support. So there are lots of avenues to explore when it comes to finding that support. I think probably the first one, the most common one, is that you can obviously talk to friends and family or colleagues at work. So anyone that you trust, that you feel comfortable talking to, then you can approach them as your first point of call. If you're at school or at university, then you could approach sort of student support services. There might be a counselling service available in your school or university that would be free. So worth sort of checking that out. If you're not at school or university, you're at work, a lot of workplaces will have what is known as an employee assistance programme, I think that's what it's called, an EAP programme, which will again offer sort of counselling to their employees. So that's something that you can ask your employer. You can of course go to your GP, and talk to them about your mental health, and they can maybe make a referral onto someone else, or give you an idea of where to go, or you can approach sort of charities and third sector organisations yourself. So these can be things like helplines or listening services like the Samaritans, text services like Shout, or of course charities like ourselves. You can approach them directly and see what support they can offer. So when we're taking those first steps to ask for help, like I've said countless times now, that can be quite a scary and anxiety-inducing process, especially if we're not used to talking about our feelings or we've kept them bottled up for a long time. So here are some helpful tips, I hope, on how to have those conversations in the first place. So you're going to want to use a communication method that you're comfortable with. So be that face-to-face, over the phone, over text. You might want to write it all down in a letter. Do what feels right for you. Sometimes people struggle to find the words when they're sat opposite a person, so it might be easier for you to write it all down, or to say it over the phone. So yeah, use a method that you're comfortable with. Another tip would be to practice what you are wanting to say beforehand. And that can either be sort of in your head, you could write some notes down. It's just so you have an idea of all the things you want to say, what you need to get across, so that you don't forget anything. When you're having that conversation with that person, be that a friend or a family member, you will want to let them know how they can support you. So do you want them to do practical things to support you, or do you just need them to sit and listen? Make sure you're letting them know how they can help. But if you're not sure, then that's fine too. You can just tell them that. And lastly, just try your best to be open and honest with them. You know, like I said, you're going to this person because you trust them and because they care about you. So it's important to be as open and as honest as they can, so they get the full scope of what's going on and they then know how best to support you. So yeah, now let's talk about what we can do if we are on the receiving end of this conversation. So if we are the person that our friends or family member is coming to. So if another person is coming to us to speak about their mental health, be that a friend or a family member, a colleague, even a stranger, then here are some tips on how we can help them. So the first thing I would say is to make sure that we are really listening to what they have to say. You know, give them that time, be patient with them, make sure there's no distractions. So, you know, put your phone down, put it to one side, and really give them your undivided attention. Or it might be that they're not coming to you. You might have to ask them how they're feeling. I think a lot of the time we all live really busy lives. I mean, how many times have you walked past someone, asked them if they're okay, but not listened to hear that response? I know I'm guilty of doing that. So, you know, really take that time when you're asking someone how they are, listen for that response and listen to what they say. And if you're not convinced by their first answer, then ask again. So you can say, you know, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, really, like, how are you? Are you sure you're okay? You can ask again, you know, ask twice. If you're sort of doubting whether someone's okay or not. And a lot of the times, if you've made that effort to ask again, then they might open up and be honest with you about how they're really feeling. Stay calm, whatever their response might be. It might be hard to hear what they have to say, especially if this is someone that you really care about. But try your best to stay calm. Try not to sort of make any judgments, and just reassure them if you can. You know, reassure them that you're there to support them, and that you're sort of with them every step of the way. Ask them how you can help them. So that might be that they need sort of practical support when it comes to maybe going to appointments or making that first step of going to see the GP for the first time. You know, see what it is they need from you. And you know, if you're sort of making, you know, promises to help them, make sure that you're sticking to those promises as well. Don't put any pressure on them to open up if they don't want to. People will do that in their own time. Unfortunately, we can't force people to talk to us. We can't force people to get help if they don't want to. So yeah, try not to put any pressure on them. I think them knowing that you're there is more than enough. And it means that when they're ready to open up, that they will come to you and know that they can do that. And then finally, I would say make sure that you're looking after your own mental health as well. It can be really difficult to support people during these tough times, and that can really impact on your own mental health as well, if you're surrounded by all of this and taking on a lot of other people's problems. So make sure you're making time for your own self-care, keeping an eye on your own mental health, and, you know, seeking help yourself if you feel like you need it. So yeah. There we have it, guys. I hope you found that useful. Even if just one person has got something from that, then I will be really happy. I hope that's helped sort of reduce the stigma around asking for help. There's no shame in asking for help. It is not a weakness. If anything, it's a strength that you're taking those steps to do something about your mental health and to help yourself. Like I said at the beginning, at the moment the world is a very strange place to be, so even more than ever we need to be looking after ourselves and looking out for those around us as well. So yeah, I just implore you to, you know, if you need help, then please reach out. There's plenty of, you know, like I've said, there's plenty of resources out there, and means and ways of getting support. And just a reminder that, you know, you are worthy of that support. You are worthy of being cared for and looked after, and worthy of looking after yourself. I think sometimes when people are feeling a bit rubbish, they can forget that. So that's my reminder to you. You are worthy and you are good enough, and you are allowed to seek support, because that's what it's there for. Yeah, I'm going to stop waffling. I think you get the idea. I'll leave our contact details at the end of this video, so if you need that support, if you're in the local area, then you know, we're here. As always, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.